Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. Good morning, John. You don't usually say that on the Geek Corner. I know. First of all, let me apologize for today's episode being late. I just could not get it done before the day it's supposed to be released, which means this is as close to live as we've done yet. I'm literally shooting this. I'm going to spend maybe 15-20 minutes editing it, and it's going right up to YouTube. It's kind of interesting. I did consider, apparently there's a new feature where you can stream live to YouTube via cell phones. They showed off the software for it at VidCon over this past weekend. I was thinking about messing with that, but I just didn't have quite enough time to put it together. But know that that's something that's in the back of my mind. I'd love to do a bit of a live stream at some point with you guys on YouTube, because it'd be really cool to have interaction. Like they have a little comment field. As you guys add comments, they actually pop up on the screen so I could see them and reply to them. So I don't know, maybe we'll do a Q&A like that at some point. But anyway, this is as close to live as we've done yet. Shot on the morning it was released. I just got up, that's why I look a little sleepy. But I got the bat hat on because today we're going to talk about what I consider some of the best films in the DC universe going on. And unfortunately, that's not their big main films like Batman vs. Superman. It is their animated films. And in particular, I want to talk about Batman Bad Blood. Now, I have so many of these on DVD because I love to watch these while I'm on the treadmill. My treadmill has a little 7-inch video monitor on it, and I've got a Blu-ray player hooked up to it, so it's great for passing the time. As I'm knocking down the miles, I just throw on one of these awesome films. But what I've really come to realize about these films is they are extremely well written. And then on top of that, there is a casting director or a voice director named Andrea Romano who does some amazing casting choices. For example, on the they have a 2-disc version of The Dark Knight Returns, of course, probably one of the most popular Batman comics ever. And Batman is played by Peter Weller, the guy that played RoboCop. So it's very cool. Most of the time, you'll hear Kevin Conroy in playing Batman's voice. But recently, they've had a new actor named Jason O'Mara who's been stepping in for Batman, and he plays Batman on Bad Blood. He also did on Son of Batman, which is a really cool storyline about Bruce Wayne finally having a son and this kid kind of transforming into Robin. They're just really good. I don't know why the cinematic universe can't look at these as examples. It boggles my mind. It literally blows me away that Warner Brothers has the answer to all their problems happening in the animation department, and they won't shift that mentality into the main films. And if you guys have some reason why you think that that's not possible, please let me know, because from everything I see, these films have better scripts. They're taking on more current issues. As a matter of fact, there's even some LGBT storylines happening in this one. There's kind of an overarching story about Batman being expanded. Like, Batman goes missing. Nightwing has to come in and step into the cowl. His son Damian comes back as Robin. So there's essentially a new Batman and Robin happening in this film. And then there's an extended kind of Bat family that is brought in, including Batwoman, who's a character I really haven't seen or been exposed to too much before. This isn't Batgirl, this is Batwoman. And then they even have the creation of a whole new Bat character named Batwing. It's really interesting to me that these films can take on some current big issues that we see and read about in the news. They're extremely timely, they're well developed, great storytelling that goes on in these. And if you're someone that's put off by it being animation, please just give it a shot. As a matter of fact, you can see, if you were only going to watch one, let's say, and you were a fan of the DC Universe, in particular The Flash, I have to say, this sucker right here, the Flashpoint Paradox, is the one that you should give your time to. And if by the end of this film you're not a fan of the DC animated universe, just give it up. You probably will never be. This one is great, and not only is it available on disc, but it is currently on Netflix. What's really cool is Netflix recently, just over the past couple months, has started picking up a lot of these DC animated films. I think Son of Batman is there, Flashpoint Paradox is there, Justice League War is another great one that's there. So know that if you have Netflix, it could be very easy for you to check one of these out and see if you agree with me. Are these stories that are actually, in some cases, I think they're smarter than the stories that we're seeing in the cinematic universe, which again boggles my mind. You know, Superman has been a problem for filmmakers for a long time now. It started towards the end of the 80s run of Superman, where there's this kind of realization everyone gets about, well, how is anything going to beat Superman, and he's overpowered. And this film, Superman versus the Elite, which I don't know if this one is on Netflix, but this one, as well as another one called All-Star Superman, have very good plots that direct that question. They go right for that question, and they handle it in such a great way. It's very creative, and it really gives Superman back a reason for existing, and that's something that I think has been missing from the cinematic universe. So much so that, you know, we know what all happened to him at the end of Batman versus Superman, which I believe is them going for a mini reboot of that character. I still think it's going to be Henry Cavill when Superman comes back. Minor spoiler alert. But I think they're going to try to reboot some aspects of his personality, because they just didn't get it right in 2 movies. If you want to see Superman that reminds you of the good old Superman, but also gives some legs into where Superman could go and stories that could be a bit better, please check out Superman versus the Elite, or maybe I like All-Star Superman even a little bit better. Very, very cool storylines going on in these. And you can draw parallels with these storylines to, oh, wow, that reminds me of a news story I just saw a couple years ago. Or, wow, this one seems like, you know, almost like a plot line where Superman is dealing with cancer, and that's something that has happened in my family recently. Just very, very well thought out, very well scripted. Excellent voice acting, and don't be surprised if you hear some voices in the films where you're like, hey, that kind of seems familiar. As a matter of fact, in Batman Bad Blood, Lucius Fox is played by Ernie Hudson. Good old Ghostbusters Ernie Hudson back here, which is really cool because he also gave it just a little bit of a twinge of Morgan Freeman. There was a few moments where it sounded to me like he was trying to emulate Morgan's performance of Lucius Fox a little bit, which I thought was really cool. So anyway, I hope you will please check out these awesome DC animated films. I'm telling you, if you're a fan of this universe at all, of this comic book universe, or this thing that's been going on for the past couple decades with comic book movies on the rise, in terms of script, these are some of the best scripts that you're going to find. They essentially come from some of the best comic books that have been written, and while they're not completely direct translations of them, a lot of the heart of those comics really comes through in this form, and I just wish that they could complete that chain and figure out how to do that into the big budget films that they're doing as well. For example, in Dark Knight Returns, many people know that comic very well, and if you watch the DC animated version of it, the tone and the style are really in place, even though it doesn't go scene for scene, and they kind of had to, they break it in half because they made 2 separate movies out of it, but you still feel like, wow, this is like the comic book that I remember, but it's springing to life in terms of me watching it now on a big screen, and it's animated, and it's got great sound and music and great voice acting and all that stuff. So please check out the DC animated universe. I don't think you'll be let down. Remember, you can check out several of these films on Netflix. If you're already a paid subscriber, they're just waiting to be found by you, and let me know what you think in the comments below. Is this universe everything I'm cracking it up to be? It's funny because I think DC animated films are much better than Marvel's cartoon universe, but Obviously, in the big budget films, I think Marvel has been beating DC in terms of quality and storylines pretty regularly, which hopefully will flip-flop at some point, because, man, I love Batman, I love Superman. Those are characters that I believe are timeless, but it seems like they're just being anchored with some questionable storylines, questionable filmmaking, and hopefully that'll get cleared up soon with the new Justice League movie that's coming out. Fingers crossed. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this almost live tape 2 release edition of the Geek Corner. Thank you so much for hanging out with me this Monday morning. I hope this helps you set up a great day for yourself, and that each and every one of you has an awesome week. I will see you on the next show on the Geek and Dorks channel. Take care.